Hello, everybody, and welcome to our podcast series of Grow to Togetherness. And today we have a special guest here. We welcome Douglas van Ooyen.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Douglas.
Douglas, good to have you in, man. So I will do a quick introduction about you. So Douglas is a father of three, happily married. He has a background in retail for 6 years as an entrepreneur. Then did a short stint at Apple for B2B and B2E. After that, worked for several startups and landed at Folion. I think now 6 years ago it is, right?
Yeah, correct.
Worked for them in EMEA and for the last 3 years setting up a shop in the US. So recently moved back to Amsterdam. I think that was around Christmas period or so, right?
Exactly. End of December, closing of the year, we moved back. So not the best time for a move, but yeah, there's never a good time to move. Right?
No, exactly, exactly.
And you made it.
You made
we
it,
made
right?
it. We made it. Yeah.
I still think the furniture is on its way, right?
Correct. Yeah, and there's still no due date when that will arrive. So it has been in the harbor in New York for the last 2 months. So hopefully my couch is still intact. We don't know. Yeah.
Exactly. Time to deploy your negotiation skills there, right? To get it back as soon as possible.
The thing is, like, I already paid for it, so this is
okay.
going to be difficult.
Nothing to negotiate.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right, but yeah, you recently moved back now to Amsterdam. So and yeah, running the EMEA sales team. So yeah, great to have you back, Doc. And yeah, really grateful that you're here with us as our guest for this, and looking forward to a great conversation.
Same. Thanks for inviting me. I'm looking forward to this.
You're welcome. So, what will we be talking about with Doc? So, the promise of today's podcast, it will all be about the benefits of a purpose-driven go-to-market approach and the effect of togetherness. I think an overarching topic, which is highly active and on a lot of people's mind, I would say, and a lot of people want to actually implement that. They don't really know how to do that. Therefore, we are starting this conversation with you, Doug. So great to have you in. But before we
A lot of
start,
pressure already.
of course, it's raising that bar, right?
Exactly. Setting those expectations. Do it.
Exactly. So before we start the tradition, a little bit from our end. So could you tell us something people don't know about you?
Yeah. I was thinking about this, and people do know because it's also on my LinkedIn. But I think one of the main things that I typically don't share right off the bat, because not everybody's looking at your LinkedIn account, of course, or your profile. But I was bankrupt, went bankrupt when I was 25, already married, and had one kid. And I think that moment also was a sort of like a pivotal moment for me, that I said, like, okay, if I'm going to work for a company right now instead of being an entrepreneur, it needs to be for a company that sells something, whether it's a service or a product that I truly believe in. And at that point, I didn't even understand purpose. But maybe that was my sort of like prequel to understand, like, yeah, you should work for a company that truly has a purpose that you believe in, and then you will be successful at a certain company. But yeah, that's the one thing that people probably don't know about me.
You can understand me. That makes me curious, Doc.
Yeah.
How that happened?
You know that I also moved to the US with 3 kids and my wife, so I'm a risk taker, and I was that as a young entrepreneur the same. So I started at when I was I think I was 17 when I started my first business, and sold that when I was 18, not for a lot of money, like, I don't know, like $2,500 or something, or euros.
At that point in time, you felt rich, right?
At that point in time, I felt rich.
Exactly.
But then I had the opportunity, because I was working in retail, and to basically purchase the store that I was working in together with that current manager of that store. The guy is 16 years older than me. We had a great relationship. He was really good in what he was doing. He was in retail for like 25 years or something. And I was still studying commercial economics or international business. And I just had the opportunity to do so. So we started, we took over that shop. We opened another one, and we started to import specific brands from the US to the Netherlands, and everything was gravy. And we started to sell like those skinny jeans, etc. way back, which was one of the first. And now they're really at that point. People were looking at me like, what the hell are you buying or selling right now? So that was one of the things that was a big risk. Yeah. So I was really always ahead of the curve, and because I like that. So I checked out what's happening in the Nordics, checked out what happened in the US, and we had some great success, right? Companies like we sold Superdry as one of the first in the Netherlands, for instance. At a certain point, you saw all these people with these Rolling Stone tongues on their T-shirts. We sold those also through some people in Amsterdam who imported those. So we had some great success, but with that success, I took more and more risk. So there's some sort of like rule within retail, which says like it's a sort of like a Pareto rule, 80-20 rule, where you say like do 80% basics because you can just sell that, and then do 20% like crazy stuff. And I turned that around, and at that point it went all south. Like the skinny jeans, it didn't took off. I opened another store in Haarlem. It was great, but the recession came in. So and I was like, okay, this is the perfect time to open another store, right? Because if everything is cheap right now, just invest more. And at a certain point, we were like, damn, we're not making any money anymore. So I decided to pull the plug and do something else.
Yeah. But I think in terms of bankruptcy, you learned a lot. Yeah,
it's cheaper than Harvard in America. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think it's a great experience, and that also enriched you as person as well.
Exactly.
So you all bring that with you.
We bring it all with us. Like even the family, everybody learned something at that point. Yeah.
Okay, so that brings me to my question, but I don't know if that is at the same time the milestone that changed your life, or is there something else in your life that changed your own purpose and belief?
Yeah, and it, maybe I don't want to sound sad here or anything, what I'm going to say right now, but my mother passed away at a really early age for me. I was only 1 year old. So I don't have any I don't remember her in any way, right? But the only thing that I basically inherited of that, call it an incident or what happened there, is that I really seize the day, and I try to do that every single day. I don't want to do anything that doesn't make me happy. I want to smile like every single day, although it's a little bit difficult here in the Netherlands with all the rain. So I understand the winter depression nowadays, but I truly want to do things that make me happy. And it sounds maybe a little bit egoistic, but it's just what it is, like you only live once, so seize the day and do what you like to do, and if that also affects other people in a positive way, please do so. But for me, I don't want to be sad any single day. I just want to smile and have a good day.
Yes, and it really inspires me what you're saying, because I always say, like, you can only make others happy when you're happy yourself.
Yeah.
And to build a bridge towards the business, I'm also saying, happy employees brings happy customers.
Yeah.
Because it's a foundation of everything you do, what you live and breathe.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. Like when I'm here at I'm at the office right now, and not a lot of people are in. But if I can be I could be a person that's going to be sad, or maybe I don't know. Yeah, just not that. I don't want to say the word fun, but not energized. And people see that, right? But I love what I'm doing. I love my job. I love working with these people. So every day I'm energized, even if I have like back-to-back calls, and I jump out of my office at 5:30, and they're still there, and I come in and walk in with a smile. People are like, "Wow, and this is amazing." And you see the rest of the people also smiling. So indeed, if you are as a person really happy and confident in the things that you're doing, it reflects on other people, and it encourages other people also to do the same. So I agree what you were saying. Yep.
Yeah, I love that, man. That's also that you shared that part. I think surrounding yourself, right, with people who you have a shared belief with, who can just are positive, right, and happy as well. I think that's so important, and I think that all forms that part of togetherness, right? That's a crucial element into that. So obviously looking at let's sketch two extremes, right? The old world of doing business, solely be there to drive financial growth, to be there for the success of the company, and only being there to be there for the customer, right? Not creating that environment for your team. That becomes more of an old game to be playing. So playing the new game also of togetherness also means you need to assess the way you also go to market, right? You need to assess the way you create awareness, you generate demand into the segments that you can add most value to. So why do companies, in your view, need to start connecting their purpose and brand into a topic, and how does this actually help to differentiate their product?
Yeah, it's a good question, right? Personally, I'm an atheist, so I don't really believe in anything. But religion is one of the things that brings in togetherness, right? And a lot of people either follow a specific religion at a pivotal point, right? Something big is happening in their life, a challenge, and they need to change their behavior, so they starting to believe maybe, or they believe in a religion because it will bring them a brighter future, and maybe the word choice, maybe not the right word choice, but that's my point of view, right? So I think as a brand, you need to create the same, right? You need to create some sort of like vision / religion in order to attract a specific audience, and I think we always put it into like those acronyms in ICPs and all that stuff. But if you just look at these people and think about what kind of problems they might have, or what kind of future they want, and if you can connect that with a certain purpose, then you're starting to create some sort of like movement, some sort of like cult, religion, and people starting to believe in this thing that you create, like this vision, and that needs to trickle back into the brand, of course. And at that point, you have people that want to work for you, with you, be your customers, or be your ambassadors or brand advocates, etc. But that will only happen when you're not only in it for the money. Because a lot of people will see that at a certain point, right? So if it's you can fake it, right? You can fake that you have some sort of like higher vision and dream, but at the moment people work longer for you or in an organization, and they see that you're saying X, but you're doing Y, and it's not for that big goal, then you're gonna lose it, and then it goes, then it's a downhill process. But at the moment that you're really saying like, hey, this is what I truly believe in, and you keep on repeating that, and you show it in every single action that you're doing, then you're creating a movement everywhere, and people pick that up, and that's why certain companies are creating these great communities, and you don't even have to sell your product anymore because people believe in what you're doing. They just say like, okay, cool, I'm just going to buy this because I'm buying this because I believe what this guy is saying, and he believes in what you're saying, so I'm following these people.
Last week I saw on I checked it, by the way. It was the customer service, and they said, we give that extra mile for our customers. But then they had a kind of opening time from 9 till 5. Well, okay, still fine, right? It's clear. But then I was calling 5 to 5. And then I got a message like, we're not, we're closed. So please call back tomorrow. What about that extra mile? You stop 5 minutes in advance. What is happening here?
It doesn't correlate with your
not
statement.
At all.
No.
Yeah, and that's really brand damage what you're causing there.
I think you should live and breathe it, right? I think that's a critical element, and then you can invite people to join you into that, like you said, Doug, that movement that can go from employees to investors to customers, right, to partners. You can really create a fantastic people join you because they believe in that, right? And of course also if you want to earn also money of it, right? If you also want it to be a purpose plus profit approach, then your product needs to be tied and connected to it, right? Because most of us are not a philanthropical institution, right?
No.
So that's also an important thing, and I think that connection between both, right? Then it's a tremendous opportunity what we see to differentiate your product in a market as well, right? Because people want to buy your product, of course, because they have a need, but I think on a higher level they want to be part of your movement, and therefore the product is almost like a residue of that.
No, exactly, and I think that's and with some people within certain organizations you see that, right? So I was listening to what was it, that book from John Doerr, Measure What Matters, about the OKRs, right? And then in the audio version, I think it's Larry Page is doing is doing the intro.
Mm-hmm.
And then at a certain point, when the first chapter is starting, John Doerr is saying like, I had Sergey Brin and Larry Page coming into my office, and they truly believed that they could change the world with giving people access to find all the information on the internet in a faster way, and this will lead to, I don't know exactly what the statement was again, but he was just he loved what he was saying. He loved that was his goal. And although there were already 18 different search engines, he was like, fuck, these guys are, sorry, I cannot swear probably, but these things, like these guys here, these college dropouts, they believe in something. They have a purpose. They want to fulfill this. I believe these guys, and I'm going to help these guys. And he made the biggest investment in these people for 10 or 12% stock, and go. So, like explaining or translating your vision and your purpose, I think that can be so powerful, and people sometimes forget that. And then it's not, you said like, of course it's also about profit, but there are skills to it, right? Like as a single employee that works for a company doesn't think about the profit. that person really thinks about, like, I want to work for this company because I believe in this company. And if he or she believes in this company and is performing well, money will probably also come, and probably also promotions, etc. But it still starts at a point that people do want to work for you as a brand because you have that specific purpose. And if you have multiple people, that brings that togetherness, then you can create that what we said before in the other podcast, that triple double effect, and everybody is happy when it comes to bottom line revenue.
Yes, that makes me think of, you were talking about religion. In religion there's connection, shared belief, etc., or something to hold on to, and where you stand for together. Let me build a bridge towards playing the game differently. Yeah. So we could, kind of synonym for in this context is building tribes. Yeah. What you're saying, one starts with it and the other follows. That's the same with togetherness. Yeah. And what we see a lot in the market is that everyone sees the value of, building an environment of togetherness, because togetherness brings growth. What you're saying, once you have the purpose in place and a good leadership, then the profit will follow. But then at the same time, most of them are, if you look at the company structures, although they value that togetherness, they still act as separate entities. So what make it hard, or what are the obstacles that make it difficult to change?
A lot. I think
your top three.
Yeah, I'm probably going to say things that people like, those are logical things. But first of all, and I know that these are the same things a lot of people probably think about, but it's of course alignment, right? And alignment throughout everything, right? Because at the moment that you create this tribe or this community or this religion, and I'm not talking about alignment where you say like, hey, everybody needs to exactly think the same, but you need to be aligned on what that purpose is for everyone, for the internal stakeholders, whether it's employees or customers or advocates, within the entire community. I think that's really important, because at the moment that there are cracks in that sort of like foundation, that people think that purpose can be interpreted differently, at that point there's misalignment and it can split up, right? Mm-hmm. Then you create like different kind of communities, and maybe something new is born, which is not a bad thing, but that's one of the obstacles. The other one for the organization itself is organizational structure, right? I think if you look at like you're talking about tribes, we also implemented some sort of like tribe structure here at Folion. But my wife, she works in healthcare. She works for the Dutch company Buurtzorg. I forgot the name of that type of organization that they created. But if you look at like how they act together as one, it's one of the most fantastic things. Like there's no hierarchy. Everybody is working within their. They are empowered to work within their skill set, and they're also able to develop themselves for different skills. And there's full transparency. Like everybody can talk to each other. Everybody wants to work for each other. Everybody wants to work for the patients. It's a great organizational structure if you're able to create that, and a lot of people fail, of course, with that. So organizational structure is important, and that leads to number 3, I think, and that's sort of like hidden agendas, right? Especially within maybe generations like mine or Gen Z, or a lot of people only think about what they say in the US, the come up, right? You want to come from a certain, like you grew up in a certain space and you want to be the highest of the highest of the highest. And in order to get there, it's okay to slaughter everyone that's in your way. If that's your mindset,
like we would say in the Netherlands, right? You gaat over lijken, so you go over dead bodies, right?
Okay, exactly. And I don't believe that, that could harm the business also, right? Mm-hmm. Because at a certain point, when people see that, there's no togetherness anymore, because this person is acting solo. He just, or she just wants to be on top of the food chain.
It's a separate entity in itself, right?
Yeah, and that can cause like major problems. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it can even create a toxic culture.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
politics
that's definitely
is
not
really a risk, or hidden agendas.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, thanks for sharing these. These three.
Do you want to go to number 10, Jeroen?
I think these are very valid points, and I loved also the example of where your wife works. Right, I think that's it's really about, of course, culture is extremely important. That the mindset of the people and the values that they have, and probably also the hierarchy and the structure, like you said. And I think in a lot of cases as well, what I hear coming back in dialogues as well. I've been playing the separate entity game myself as well. Right, chasing that revenue number from a marketing perspective, for example, right, celebrating thousands of MQLs while the sales team was struggling to hit their target.
Yeah. We're talking many years back, Doug. Don't worry.
It was like 3 days ago. No? So I, as a marketeer, was generating thousands of MQLs for myself as a sales leader. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. No, but I think for me, a learning at least was, and I hear that coming through a lot, is you can't just go with the culture that you had then at that point in time and the existing processes, and then put them from existing separate entity focused processes that doesn't fit in a grow to togetherness environment, right? So that's also something which I hear a lot coming through from conversations, at least for people who want to make that shift towards a more grow to togetherness type of setup. So but that's most likely something which you don't recognize, right? Just a light joke.
Oh, I love it.
Exactly, cool. No, but that brings me into that next part, Mike. So share. Thanks for sharing those obstacles. It always gives a good view of I think for a lot of people who think, I really want to go for that kind of setup, but what would make it difficult? What could help me? If I could arise these things, how could I turn those obstacles into opportunities? So thanks for sharing that. If you would be looking at the introduction, right, of a purpose-driven and scalable go-to-market approach for someone in the audience, right, a commercial leader or founder, an MD, what are the key steps to introduce that a purpose-driven, scalable go-to-market?
Without putting that in my top three, but at first you always need to have purpose, right? So I think that's that's logical. But at the moment that you have that, it needs to be embedded within the entire organization, and not just putting those that purpose on a couple walls in the office, or sending boxes of chocolate with that purpose on it. No, it should be really embedded within the organization, also within processes and in the way you do business with your customers every single time. Like what Lisbeth said about we're going the extra 1,000 miles for your customer. If that's the case, then you truly need to show it also, right? And it's also okay to be a little bit braggadocious about it, right? Like if that's the case, then you can also show it what you did. It's okay to do that. And indeed, the same as you said, Jeroen, when celebrating stuff, celebrate it also as an entire team. That hey, this is our purpose, and we manage this as a company, as a team, that will help us get even closer to that purpose, and make it visible for everybody. Don't just put it down in a piece of paper, put it somewhere in your knowledge base or G Drive or whatever thing you're using, and then yes, we've got it somewhere, and back to business.
Yeah, I love that. I think also I think a couple of months earlier we had also a chat, right, Douglas, and I think you mentioned the transformation piece in relation to the purpose, right? So celebrate that you became a little bit more closer towards achieving your purpose, right? On a quarterly basis, of course. There's also revenue numbers or shareholder prices to be celebrated, right? But why not celebrate? For me, that was really an eye opener to review it from a transformation perspective at that point in time.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's good to hear that I still have some positive impact on you.
Oh yeah. Of course, man.
But I think the risk here is that if you don't connect it to your strategic goal setting, there's a huge risk that you forget about celebrating, or even if you fail, be aware together and do it better tomorrow. It should be on the agenda on a regular basis.
Yeah. If you have like all hands meetings or like open mic sessions or town square or whatever the American call it on Friday when somebody from the leadership team does an announcement. I think it comes to number two that I was thinking about is having ambassadors within the organization, right? I think and not only in the organization but also external ambassadors that help you. I think it's also a sort of like then there need to be some repeatability in it, right? Because people will quickly go to their day-to-day jobs, and sometimes they forget why they're doing this, and it makes sense, right? Because throughout the entire organization, people also have their own lives, right? They're not. It's not really a cult, like I said before. It's not that you're worshiping this one thing and 24/7 you're only doing something for that specific company with that specific purpose. But in order to make sure that people understand why they're doing it, you need to have some repeatability in it, and you can enable that by creating internal and external ambassadors, whether those are current employees or employees that moved on to another place, but are still champions for your company and help you with whatever recruiting or whatever. Customers, of course, that are ambassadors for you because they changed their behavior or the process because they believe what you're doing is the right thing to do. But assigning those people is, I think, also vital. And as an organization, you know quickly who those people are because you're hiring also based on value, and you're checking if they fit that purpose and if they are the right people. And then I think number three, and we discussed this also back in the days with the other podcast, Jeroen, is where I said like, I think things can change, right? I don't believe that everything is set in stone. No. So even like the entire COVID pandemic changed a lot of stuff, right? That can even change a purpose because of an epiphany from somebody, right? And that means that you need to pivot entirely. But in general, I think you need to keep your eye on the prize, and don't really change a lot when times get rough, right? Refocus back on the purpose. Understand like why are things going rough? Is it because we're doing the wrong thing? Yes or no? change that and make sure that the changes that you're doing are tied directly to that purpose. And
I
I
love
think
it. It
if
really
you're,
gives you the guidance, right?
yeah,
And when
yeah,
times are rough and tough, it's there to guide you, right?
yeah,
Oh.
yeah, yeah.
Although I think the three of us are not that religious, but I think that's kind of your company Bible.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when we're talking about that togetherness, the value of a tribal setup, what is the effect of it? What is the effect of, in this case, at the commercial side of the company, the effect of commercial togetherness?
Yeah. If you, like, you're asking it to a sales leader, right?
Mm.
So you know how hungry we can be,
Mm-hmm.
and we are always sort of like envisioned as the people that are doing things solo or not really creating that togetherness, because we just like to celebrate every single thing. I think everybody knows, like, Alec Baldwin, always be closing, and Boiler Room with Vin Diesel and stuff. So there's some sort of like bad taste to salespeople sometimes, but I do believe at the moment that that you are successful with commercial togetherness, right? I think that's still vital. That you are able as an organization that it will benefit everyone. And I'm not saying that we need to be communist or anything, that everybody should earn the same amount of money no matter what you're doing.
That would be ridiculous to say as a sales leader, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I do believe that everybody should benefit when you're reaching that goal, when you're reaching that purpose, and I think that's something that that need to be embedded in the organization. Like I said before, within the entire organization should be embedded. So and maybe this is more like a utopian kind of way, but if you could put that in everyone's contract, in the compensation, if we reach this milestone to be closer to a purpose, then you will get a monetary incentive out of it.
I love it. That's purpose plus profit.
Yeah.
Love it. Great practical example. Yeah, I know. So I think a lot of CEOs are now noting it down, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, but I love it. It makes it really concrete, right? And sometimes it's also about trying these things out, right?
Yeah.
And being open to it. But so great example. Cool. Let's that brings us to the next part, which is more around also the future of growth. So for yourself, right, Doug, what are your top priorities actually connected to this topic?
Yeah, for me it's quite strange, right? Because I just moved from the US to EMEA. We hired some new leadership also at the company, and we are in a sort of like organizational change, where we really also want to embed that togetherness. As I said before, we are moving more towards tribes, more multidisciplinary, like, let's say, togetherness projects that we're doing together, a more agile way of working, where everyone within the organization has a voice, and where we collect ideas, that we validate those ideas, and if they fit that higher purpose that we have, then it will be pushed into to an overall arcal tribe. And that's not hierarchical, but it's like multiple people from multiple departments are in that tribe. We make the decisions like, okay, are we able to do this? We assign people, and we do it together with the other tribe. So it's really working together to hit that common goal. And we're in the midst of it, right? So we changed this like 6-7 weeks ago. so we can have like a follow-up podcast
Yes,
on
I
how
get it.
successful we
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
Love it.
in 6 months. But it's one of the things that we as a company also really try to embed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
thanks
that's
for
really
sharing, man.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And this is really cool, talking about transformation and how to stay relevant in the market.
Yeah.
I think that's a great opportunity to make that change, and you know, it's I think it's also cool to try new things.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
if it doesn't work, or it should work in a kind of different way, or and you know, adapt to what is working. You know, this is really cool, because if you, I think one of the biggest risks of companies is that they think, you know, they once said it all, and then, you know, they think they are able to keep doing the same, but it becomes harder to attract people. They're losing people. If they're losing the people, they lose their relevancy. And then at the end, they will disappear. I know I read an article about it in the States. It's really ridiculous, but not so strange maybe, that really huge companies in the States disappear because of that reason.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It's some sort of like misplaced arrogancy, right? So thinking that you're on top of the world and having blind spots, or not looking in your rearview mirror, and within seconds, other people are ahead of you, and you're not able to chase them anymore, and you lose sight of them, and at a certain moment, you're a nobody, and you're gone.
Yeah, you're not a player anymore. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can imagine. So we are coming to the last question, Doug.
Yeah.
And that is, could you give us 3 tips? We love the 3, the 3 steps, 3 tips. How you can actually start with introducing a purpose-driven go-to-market approach that improves togetherness.
Yeah. And I always, I think it's almost a summary of what we've been talking about. So I don't know if that's if that's the best way to do
Well,
it.
then we have a great wrap up, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So like I said, I think first of all you need to decide on the purpose, right? And that purpose really needs to come from most of the time. In my case, in SaaS, it should come from the founders. They are the ones that started a company. They know why they do it, and people want to work for these people, and they need to believe in it. So and it should be, like I said before, written down, and number 2, or maybe still number 1, still have it really embedded within the organization. Not just write it down somewhere. No, it needs to be clear for every single individual. When you start hiring people, when you're interviewing people, everywhere. It's just like, it's the same when you're in a buyer journey for sales. Constantly repeat what you're doing, and people understand what you're doing, so it's clear. Same for the purpose within the employee journey, and even in the customer journey. Number 2, like we just doing, have an organizational structure that works for you as an organization, that empowers that road to purpose, right? And we embedded that tribe thing right now, so that worked for us. But it can also be something totally different, right? Like what my wife is doing at Buurtzorg, or maybe it's really a hierarchical thing for you as a company. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it works for that purpose and it creates some sort of togetherness. I think it's always difficult if you have a really hierarchical organizational structure, to create that togetherness. But who knows, if it works, it works. And number 3, assign people for being those ambassadors. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people don't do. And even if you are not purpose driven, sometimes you see that certain people within your organization are pillars for your organization, or almost a foundation. And if you don't recognize that, and these people leave, then you have an issue, right? But if you put these people on a pedestal, and you make them, I don't want to say more important, but you value them in the right way. You give them that recognition, then they will
And
bring
the
that
voice,
even
probably.
more. And the voice, exactly. Then they will stand up and help you, and not only be that founder or CEO or whoever you are trying to embed that purpose within the organization. No, then you have multiple people who do that, and then next to it, of course, external, right?
Then it becomes scalable, I guess, right?
Yeah, talk to your customers.
Snowball
and who are
effect.
those investors? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love it, man. Thanks for sharing those tips, Doug. And I think we're coming almost to an end. And if you look at the wrap up of and the conclusion of this podcast, right? I think the word purpose, right? That's I think a no brainer is a critical element into this. I think you mentioned it also in the 3 tips, Doug. Deciding on the purpose. Sometimes when businesses are be found, they have done that based on maybe not really a super clear purpose or so. So it's sometimes also maybe people would require or need help to find their purpose, right? So so decide or find. That's the most critical thing first, right? Because it influences everything you do in the rest of your go-to-market approach. And I think the thing you mentioned around here, embedding it in the organization from all layers, everybody should take responsibility into that. I love the example also of coming closer to reaching that purpose with a certain milestone, and then let the company or the people who are part of that benefit from that also. Everybody should take a certain part of their responsibility into this. But if you set your purpose right, then everybody wants to be part of that, right? So, and I think that's I would say the biggest conclusion of this, right? Decide or find on your purpose. We are sure that you have embedded it into the organization, the structure, the processes. Then people want to be part of that, and that's where really the magic, and in this case, the togetherness could arise.
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing that, Doug, also, and your stories. And I learned also a new word, braggadocious. So I've noted that down. Love it. I think how you, people from the US, they are great wordsmiths. So I think you learned in the last 3 years probably a lot of that. So love that word.
Yeah, indeed.
So
one thing that people don't know about me, I will share this as an outro. I don't know if you guys use Grammarly. It was my basically my savior in the US. Grammarly helps you, of course, with your grammar, and it shares like a weekly update. And one of the things, I'm always in the top 1% of new words being used within Grammarly. So.
Cool.
Okay.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool, man, Doug. So thanks a lot for being our guest. If people want to learn more about this topic, reach out to you. How can I best do that? Can I just reach out to you via LinkedIn?
No, I'm too busy. Don't reach out to me. No, I'm kidding. No, of course, LinkedIn, DM me. Douglas Van Ooyen is my LinkedIn handle. I don't really do Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or all that stuff. So LinkedIn is the most easy way, and or just email me at douglas@folion.com.
Cool, man. Awesome.
Yeah.
So thanks for being our amazing guest today, and thanks everybody, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks, Doug.
Bye.
Thanks, Doug.
Bye.
Bye-bye.